Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud and happy and privileged to have someone who is joining you at this Quantum Leap 20th anniversary celebration. They're both in a dual panel. First, we have Mr. Scott Bakula, who's out here right now.
That's me, yes. Okay. Staying.
But let's give a nice round of applause. 20th anniversary of Quantum Leap, Mr. Don Bellisario himself. Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you. Pleasure.
Thank you. Get over here. Get over here. Thank you. Thank all of you. Let's get the star back out here.
Where do you want to sit? Where would you like to sit?
Sit right there.
All right, yes, sir. Some things never change. The boss is the boss. Are there questions?
No.
What we like?
Jamal?
Holy cow, I'll get it.
Hold it.
All right.
Mr. Bellisario.
Jamal Malik of Mumbai. Welcome to Who Want to Be a Millionaire?
Millionaire.
You just leaped in, baby.
That's the movie.
That's going to be his next leap.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. What we're planning to do, we're going to let you run with this, but just so you know, when you're ready to open up the field. Oh, where? Where's the phone? Oh.
Is Dean calling?
I have no idea. I really don't. I have no idea.
Really?
Yeah, it could be your lawyer. It
Folks,
could be
please
mine.
stand by.
Could
That
be
time of
mine.
year.
No kidding. Somebody's calling in to...
Okay, when?
What are we waiting
We're waiting for somebody to call in. Maybe we're somebody's phone a friend.
for? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Maybe it's like how many hit series has Don Bellisario produced over the years? How about that?
Have you... How long have you been sitting up here?
I think yesterday, about 4. Everybody came to my house last night. We had dinner, and we all came back this morning.
That's great.
I've been sitting up here for 20 years. That's how long I've been sitting up here. We've been all riding together for 20 years. You know?
I will say it is an absolute pleasure and an honor to be in the same room in the same city with you guys. You guys have done so much for these fans. In attendance here, we have people from approximately 13 to 15 different countries and 32 states. People as far away as Malaysia, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, France.
Are you there, sir?
And so on and so on. Here for you guys. Thank you so much for what you guys have done for us in the last 20 years, and we are here with bated breath to hear everything and anything you can tell us.
Once the phone call comes through, we can vamp.
How many people here from Australia?
Australians, raise your hand.
I just returned from Australia. I've been down there for 4 months. I have a home there. I love Australians.
Can you give us that address and telephone number, please?
He has a script he wants to send you.
No, I can't write a thing.
It's a great country. Great country.
It is a great country.
I love it.
I shot there years ago.
Okay, also, once the questioning begins, after you guys tell us what's been going on with you guys.
Hello?
Oh,
Hey!
is this Dean Stockwell?
I can't hardly hear you. Yeah, it is.
Hello.
Good on him.
Oh, yeah, don't worry.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I hope you're having a good time.
Yeah. Mr. Stockwell, can you hear us? Good.
I can hear you, not really very clearly, but I can hear you.
Okay, on stage right now, we have Scott Bakula and Don Bellisario right now
Who are
as we
they?
speak.
What did he say?
Who are they?
Who are they?
Hi, Scott and Don.
We heard that,
Goddamn, we
butthead.
should be there.
hear that, butthead?
What?
I said, hello, butthead.
Hey, how you doing? He says, hello, butthead. Okay, Slime, let me talk to Don.
Okay, fine. Don't worry. Like always. You Italian guys, stick together.
Hey, Dean, good to hear you again.
Hey, how you doing, big fella?
I'm doing fine.
Great.
So are you. How's your painting coming?
Oh, I don't paint, but I'm making art. And it's coming pretty good. Yep, up here in the mountains of Taos. I wish I could be down there with you, but I just couldn't make it.
We really, really miss you, sir. We wish you were here with us.
Yeah,
I don't
Thank
miss you. No.
yeah, it sounds like you got a pretty good group of people there.
Yeah, we thought about bringing you. We thought about bringing you as a hologram, but then
CNN wouldn't release the technology.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We should have done that. That would have been great.
Would have been cool.
That would have been really cool.
Mr.
Yeah.
Stockwell, can you hear me?
Yes?
Do you have any interesting behind-the-scene pranks that you may have pulled on either Scott or Don?
Oh, I wouldn't even think of doing something like that.
Well, can I ask you another question? Do you like pie?
Sorry, buddy. Sorry.
Do you like
I
pie?
think there was a pie event, as a matter of fact. Yeah, we got him good.
Dean would enter the stage, and you'd hear, of course, after he got off the golf course. You remember what you would say every time you walked on the stage?
That's why you took the role.
That's why I took the role?
Yeah, so you could play golf 2 days a week.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a good idea.
And I'm not and that's not counting the weekend. So it's 4 days a week.
Yeah,
Do you remember what you used to say when you come in the back door?
yeah.
Yeah?
All I know is it's the best damn job I ever had.
You used to walk in the back and go, the fun starts now, baby.
Here it goes, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got snow?
Huh?
Is it snowing up there?
It snowed yesterday. No, day before yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. But snow is cold. I don't know if you know that. But then the sun came out and the snow melts and everything runs in these beautiful cycles.
I'm glad you were here on the phone because we had some questions about snow we were trying to figure out.
Well, you got the right guy.
Where does snow come from?
Over to Snow Place.
He's been watching.
Where they
He's
make
been
the
watching Old
flake.
Country for Old Men.
I think that you're a snowman, actually, originally, Scott. I mean, you're kind of a flake.
Oh, my God.
You know what's really silly, Dean? We're sitting here, your voice is coming from the left, and we're all sitting here looking at a bunch of lights on a wall. And the voice of God.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, right. Preceded by the lightning bolts.
A couple of the bulbs are off, though, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that I was kind of missing you, and then you said the flake thing, and I'm over it.
That changed everything, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you doing? You doing another show now?
You talking to Don?
Yeah.
Am I doing another show?
Yeah.
No, it's still, NCIS is still on the air, and I've got 3 features I'm working on.
Cool, man. Great.
I know the next
And
question.
the Magnum features probably going to go.
Wow.
Great. That's great. Bellisario never quits, man.
I was thinking of you as Magnum, but they said Selleck would be pissed. Why am I looking at the lights?
I don't know. We're looking to where the voice is coming from. It's totally natural. What would be, if you're talking to him like this, it would be really weird. It'd be like you'd be ignoring his voice.
Yeah, it'd be rude.
It'd be rude, exactly.
It'd be rude. I think I want to be rude.
Okay, all right.
Who's going to be rude?
We're turning our back on you.
Yeah.
Oh, are you really?
It's a penalty for not being here. Aren't you going to ask for a job in one of the movies?
Oh, sure. Don, give me a job in one of the movies, please. I want all you guys to look out for a special 2-hour DVD movie of Battlestar Galactica that is yet to be shown. That my character fairly dominates. Yeah.
Good on you, man.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Well, I got my seal imitation. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh.
4.5 years.
You want to do the other part?
4.5 years.
Should have been a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get the hit on Warren Littlefield.
Where's the movie? Ask Dean. Dean's working on it in the mountains, in the melting snow.
Yes, up in the mountain.
In the cold, yeah.
Up in the highlands.
Where the hell is he living now?
I can't tell you. It's top secret. They don't tell all the Battlestar people. They've taken him to remote.
Is there someplace near Stallion Gate?
I have.
I wonder how many people remember that.
They all. Are you? What do you mean? They all do. They all remember.
Mr. Stockwell, how much time do we have with you, sir?
Oh, another couple of minutes.
Okay. We really missed you here.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say that.
And small story here. I had a bet with some members here in the audience because one of my favorite movies is The Boy with the Green Hair.
Yeah.
Do you remember exactly what year The Boy with Green Hair came out?
I think it was 47.
Close enough.
Why, am I wrong?
Wrong. Well, that's one of my favorites. But like I said before, we really, really wish you were here. And if you could tell us a little bit of what your experiences was with Quantum Leap, as Quantum Leap, we'd appreciate it.
Well, you know, it's just kind of amazing that I got paid to do that show. Because it was really a joy. And of course, old Slimy Scott had to do all the hard work. I'd just come in for a couple of days each episode and have a ball. So I have to mark it right up there with the finest and the best and most enjoyable jobs I've ever had. It was great, and you know, I'll always be grateful to Don for casting me in that silly role. Obviously being confident that I could pull it off. Thank you, Donald.
Hey, Dean, when you accepted the role, I couldn't believe it. You had just made Married to the Mob, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And everybody was telling you, what the hell are you taking a job on television for? Because you were
That's
hot.
right.
You were
Matter
hot
of fact,
in features.
my dear good friend Dennis Hopper, when I told him about it, he says, well, that's the end of your career. And now all these years later, Hopper's doing a series.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you wanted, but you should have told Dennis, you know, what you really took it for, because you could play golf. And I know that's appealed to Dennis because I remember the three of us playing together.
Yeah.
And I remember putting my arms around you and he on the ninth hole at Lakeside. You were arguing over the score. you were counting and going 1, 2, 3. You had a 5, Dennis. And Dennis said, no, I didn't. 1, 2, 3. I had a 4. You know, you had a 5. They were going back and forth arguing. I walked over and I put my arms around both of them and I said, hey, guys, it's 1968. Could you believe this scene? You remember that? No, you were too gone from 1968.
Oh, man.
Mr. Stockwell, if you don't
All
mind.
right, guys, listen, I'm out of here. Thank you for letting me talk to you. I love you all. And have a ball, okay?
Thanks,
Love
Dean.
you.
All right, love you. Talk to you later.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Bye.
Dean Stockwell. Okay, real quickly, what we're going to do, looks like I'm going to be running around handing mics to people. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask, raise your hand and I'll run up to you. Got one right here.
That was cool. That was really cool. What, these modern ages, I tell you. Yeah, that's why he gets the big bucks. He thinks of this stuff. And then they say, we can't afford it, Don. He says, yeah, oh, yes, we can afford it, and we will do this. And then the hologram's here.
Sorry. It's probably not the first time a girl's trying to talk to you. Very sorry about this. This is an 18-year-old dream, so I've been dreaming about this since I was 9-year-old, so please bear with me. Okay, my name's Janine. I'm from Northeast England. I'm so sorry.
Take your time, Janine. Don't worry about it. Just say what you want to say.
I can't do this.
It's okay.
Janine, just say what you want to say. You're among friends. You're among friends.
We come back. We'll come back to you.
We're going to come back to you. Okay, when you're ready. That's what you guys do.
Well, we got to come.
Unbelievable.
We got to make sure we come back to her.
We will. We would definitely come back to her. Believe it or not, Janine has been a fantabulous fan here this weekend. We had a fan trivia question contest. Okay.
I'll answer it now.
That girl.
She's ready.
Sam Beckett's social security number is 563-86-9801.
I have to give you this. There you go. There you are. It's all good. It's all good. That's good. It's all good. All right, take this. Thank you for being here. And blame Don. It's all Don. Take that. Okay? You all right? That guy. I just had a
Do you
Okay.
remember? I got to say something. Do you remember the convention when Jay? Where is Jay?
He's lying down. He's resting.
Jay went nuts because you left the stage to kiss a woman's pregnant belly.
I did that?
Yes.
See?
You don't remember it?
Lie down.
You were
Lie
going
down a little.
nuts, Jay. You didn't want him out among the mob. She said, would you kiss my belly? And you got down and went in the stage. Where have you been?
I've been kissing bellies. I'm a belly kisser. What?
I couldn't believe.
We have another question for you guys over here. I'll get over there to you in a sec, okay? Here you go.
Gentlemen, it's an honor. It's been 20 years, and I never thought I'd see the day I'd get to talk to you guys, but thank you for being here. My question is to Scott. You've done a lot of intense scenes on Leap, Shock Theater, Dreams, and I'm wondering, after you did those scenes, did it take you a while to come back from them?
Well, I'm not. I'm really not the kind of actor that stays with stuff. If you're staying in the scene and you're shooting a scene for 2 or 3 hours, then you stay in that place. But as you can see from the people that you've met here all weekend, the group that Don put together and the guy that I was working with, who was just on the phone, they really weren't into that. You know, Dean was not into serious stuff. He would do it if he had to. He hated it. He absolutely hated it. So he would, he would allow me to do what I needed to do, and then he would be, okay, let's get on with it. So and it's just not my nature. I like to really focus, do what we need to do, address the scene, commit to what you need to commit to get involved and do it correctly. And then unless the only time a scene stays with me is if I feel like I blew it or we didn't get it or I could have done it better and we had to keep going. That's the only time that a scene would stay with me. But we moved so fast, and we were we were succeeding at doing so much every day. There wasn't a lot of time there wasn't time for that, And thank goodness, and I'll pat myself on the back a little bit, but that Dean and I were guys that came in, did the work, knew what we needed to do. They spent a lot of time casting good people. I mean, when you look at the guests that have been here all weekend and seeing some of these faces, being a guest on our show was one of the best jobs in television for 4.5 years because oftentimes they had more to do than I did, and Dean, and they got to play characters and period stuff. I mean, and we had just so many wonderful people, and we enjoyed working with them so much, But we didn't have time to sit around and feel sorry for ourselves or pat ourselves on, we just.
You did it so well that that's really what I was trying to get across. That it seemed like it might have stayed with you.
Well, no, the memories of the show stay with me very clearly, but not the emotional. Gosh, what did I have to do to get to that place in Chalk Theater or what? I couldn't tell you, because I kind of do it. I'm in the moment. I do it, and then I'm moving on. Thank you. Thank you for 18 years. That's just wild to think about, isn't it? I mean, you know this, but this
Well,
is,
I know,
for me,
I know
it's
about
not.
you. I also know about Dean because I wrote an episode for Dean that was very heavy, and I thought he was going to be so pleased. And he got the episode, and he said, "Why did you do this?" I said, "Dean, it gives you a chance to really do a really neat dramatic role." And it was the episode where he goes back there in San Diego, and he's in with his wife is there. He can't communicate with her, but he can see her, and he's trying to get Scott to tell her that he's alive and he's a prisoner, and not to marry another man because he declared. You want to tell the story?
She's filling in the blanks.
And Dean really didn't like it. He said, "I have to go to a place I don't want to go to, a place that's very painful. And I've been in painful places in a lot of roles in my life, and I don't want to ever go there again." He said, "So I'll do it for you this time, but please don't ever write a role like this for me again." And I never did.
But every time.
But he did it.
That episode, forget it.
He nailed it.
Because when he went there, he killed you.
Yeah.
He killed me in Jimmy when he started talking about his sister, if you remember that. He killed me if you think about Vietnam when he said, "In my head, Sam, all I got to do is do that. I tear up. If I can see him saying that. I was always free up here." Great line.
Thank you.
Yeah. But you gotta be able to deliver it. And when he did it,
He was great. Not was great. He is great.
yeah.
He is great.
Yeah, now we gotta get the battle started.
Because he's up there painting.
Not painting, art. Doing art.
He's creating great art.
He is.
Okay, this gentleman over here.
Hi, Scott. Hi, Don.
Hello.
My name is Josh. I'm from Florida. I want to let you both know that I've been a fan of the show since I was 12. So it's pretty cool to come on out here. And the question I have is for Scott. But before I answer you the question, I want to let you know that even to this day, when I approach situations that I'm kind of questionable on, I think, what would Sam Beckett do?
I ask, what would the Geico lizard do? That's what I. How's he going to catch that guy? What? That's what I'm doing. But thank you. But that's, again, you know, we're like the messenger. You know, we're the bottle, and these guys filled it.
Well, the question that I had is, one thing that was so cool about the show is every week it was different. And you did different things. One week you'd be singing, or you'd be fighting, or dancing, or all this different stuff, and it really exercised acting abilities. Was there any particular episode or character you found harder to do than others, because it required you to, be different people every week?
Well, there were a lot. I mean, you know, the challenges were different. Sometimes they were physical, just purely physical, and you know, the one I always talk about is the trapeze show, and people know that. But you know, and Diamond's like, "Woohoo, Bubba, we're gonna go flying," you know, and I got Bob. Wasn't it Bob? Yep, out in the valley, who had a trapeze in his backyard, because who doesn't in the valley? And I don't know if you even knew that. It was like, you know, Saturday afternoon, I'm flying with some guy who taught Burt Lancaster how to fly, or flew with him in trapeze, right? Yeah. So, you know, there were those kinds of shows that were problematic, just the physical nature of it, and that's just because, look, I have a problem spinning. It's just I have an equilibrium thing in my head. And so when I had to get in that, anytime a freaking turntable showed up and I had to spin around with an ass on the other side of it, or a mule, or whatever the heck that thing was, and what was it? A goat. Yeah, I was the ass. When I had to get on that thing, I just dreaded it, because I would be sick for the rest of the day. And that's just, and I had acupuncture needles in my ear, and I had this, and blah. Anyway, and I couldn't take anything, because you can't work and take anything. When I had to go around spinning the chimp thing, and it was like, here it comes again. Oh yeah. Now I have to get to hang upside down and do the trapeze thing. The only great payoff for that was that the real guy, Bob, when he did all the stunts, the real stunts, because I don't really like to catch the triple anymore. He threw up. Because they don't, the catchers, they just go over once. They sit, they ready, everybody ready, they roll over, they catch a guy, they throw him back, and they pop up and they sit. But when you're doing it with a camera in the air, and keep going, just hang on, we're going to get it, let's get the focus, we're almost rolling, you know, and you know, so poor guy. Kind of felt good about it, but kind of.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Rose?
Hi there, I'm Rose. I'm from Israel.
Where?
Israel.
Israel.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay. At the end of Mirror Image, there's the official ending in which there's the black screen and the writing that says what happens to Sam and that Al has married Beth and children and everything. And then there's a focus at the really end. There's a focus on Al's picture, and then he leaps. And there's an unofficial ending that shows the postcard of Al and Beth and the girls. Why didn't you do the both endings together and have the black screen and the writing, and then when the picture maybe just leaped, show it leap into the postcard? I mean, why not have the both?
Here, I got to hear the answer to this. And while I'm out here, I might kiss a few bellies too. You never know.
We were hoping that we would not be canceled at the end of that season. They never told us that we were canceled. So we had to do the episode, I had to write it as if it was going to end, and then again as if it was not going to end. And finally, it wasn't until the day before, 2 days before the film went out, that I knew we were canceled, and I put in the ending that was the official ending. I don't know who's got the unofficial ending, because you can't have both. It's one or the other. And I wanted to keep alive the idea that Sam was still out there, leaping around, putting right things that once went wrong, and that hopefully he would one day leap back when somebody woke up and said, God, this is a smart thing to do, you know, not with what happened.
Oh, look at that. This is Jay's?
Are you going to take my picture, Scott?
Well, if I knew how, but you know, I've never.
Scott, I don't have any makeup on.
Oh, it's filming. You don't? You look fabulous. Fabulous. Good. That looks good. I didn't do anything. I didn't mess it up.
Okay,
all right,
next
all right,
question
all right.
on the other side of the room. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Donald. Hi, Scott. My name is Noelle. I'm from New Jersey, and it's a pleasure to be here. It is a dream come true, and we're all very happy to be here. You can see, you know, just from the many people that came out, it's just really is a dream come true. And I have two questions. One, how did you find your place, your acting with the women you portrayed? Are there certain people that you tried to model? How did you find your expressions, how you used your body to portray the women you did? And if you could just give us an idea of how you got there, because it was really impressive. And which one was your favorite? Which
He came out of
woman
the
did you-
closet.
Yeah, you know, you guys still laughing about it. Nobody had more fun than the crew every time I would show up on set in heels, laughing.
That
Yeah.
big.
Well, poor John.
Were there specific women you talked to or tried to model?
Well, obviously, I know a lot of women in my life, and certainly, I have to say that I was very pleased about 8.5 months. It was just, and part of that pregnant woman was a combination of a lot of people. A part of her was my ex-wife, and we'd gone through a pregnancy, and so some of that was stuff that I got from her. I enjoy women, and I love women, and I really it's kind of one of the most interesting studies that I've ever had to do, because you don't get in an acting class and say, today, you know, you're going to be pregnant, and let's just run with that. You know, that's not the improv that, you know, unless it's Wayne Brady or somebody, and he can do anything. But that's just, you just don't think that. So it was a great way to just go, well, let's just, I mean, that's what we do. It doesn't, it's like, how do I play a villain, or how do you play, you know, you have to suspend, and you go there and you inform yourself, you observe, and you take things in. The women were well written, and that helps a ton. And you know, I got to be honest, because of the way we worked, and I mean this in a loving, wonderful way. I didn't have a lot of time to think about a lot of these things. He knows what I'm talking about, because quite often I didn't get the script to the next episode until the night before we started shooting the episode. So, and the way this series worked, our last days of an episode quite often were well up of 14 hours, quite often 18 to 20. So I would get home, and quite often, I would read the script for the first time, because I also didn't like to, you know, be trying to do one episode and then be thinking about what I was going to do with the next character, unless it was something that I had, you know, a trick I had to learn, or a skill that I didn't have a clue about how to do. But I just had to kind of go with it. And what happened in this series, we had such a creative space that our set embodied, and there was such an acceptance about what we were doing, and the crew loved the show. I don't think any of them, very few of them would, I don't think, have worked harder on any show that they've ever done, because we were running like there was a fire behind us. But everybody loved it. When we were rolling and we were making these bizarre, strange scenes sometimes, the crew loved it. So we had this opportunity to just go. We had a bunch of great directors, and quite often I just had to give it up to them. You know, I didn't have time, other than 3 times, to direct myself. I had Dean on the set with me, who was a constant, but not in every scene. and he was great for feedback. I would get a call if there was unhappiness, in the dailies, but we didn't get calls very much.
There wasn't much.
There wasn't
unhappiness
much.
No.
And everybody else, that we were just we got in this flow, and it's hard to describe. But if you look at the course of the show over the course of the 97 hours, there wasn't like a bunch of 8 shows that were like, we were really working on a high level, and consistently on a high level.
Well
And
done, considering.
Thank you though.
One other question, if you don't mind. I love singing along to Romance, Three Guys Naked, and unfortunately I was never able to see those productions. Is there a way for us to see them somehow?
You have to go to Lincoln Center Library in New York City, and they're in the archives.
Now, I was under the interpretation that anybody couldn't get in to see these tapes, unless...
You know what? I've never done it, so I
Okay.
couldn't answer. I'm sure there are people here that have tried to do it, and I don't know what. I thought that if you were, maybe you have to be in the union, in our actors union to do it. I don't know, but that's where they are.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm sure people here can help you more than I can.
I appreciate it. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Another question? Just a note. We have so many people, I'm sure they want to speak to these wonderful guys up here. Try to limit your questions to 1. Okay?
I'll talk shorter answers. Shorter answers.
Hello, Scott and Donna. I'm today. I'm a huge fan of your. I watch every episode and remember everything. But my question is, I know you worked together for years. I'm wondering if you have a project together again, working project together, like a new TV show, or you make another Quantum Leap in the future, or anything like that. In the future, you have a future upcoming project together with Dean and everyone?
Nothing. We don't have anything currently. The good news is we're all buddies, and I know there's a part of all of us that, for a lot of years held out that maybe we'd make some kind of a reunion thing. It's never really. It's a very complicated and long, boring business, frustrating story. That my side of it. You tell the reason. Anyway.
It's not in. Are you talking about Quantum Leap? Making it, or a different project? Pardon me?
Anything.
Oh, doing anything together? Yeah. Oh. I don't know. What do you want to do?
A dead guy?
You don't want to go there. Yeah, we can do something. Dean, you see how hard it is to get Dean.
We could shoot at his house.
We could. We could, as long as he was an artiste.
Yeah.
We could do it. I personally would love to work with these guys again. I mean, the best experience I've had working in my career was with this gentleman here, and I'm not saying that because I'm sitting next to him. He truly is the best. My biggest regret is that he didn't get an Emmy for the work that he did.
Yeah.
Because what he won't tell you, but he may tell you, but what is so what is so hard about what he did was that when he leaped into someone, he had to figure out who he was, of course, and all that. But as the show went on, he began to take on the characteristics of the person he leaped into. And that was a very subtle change that he would do in the character as he was doing it. Plus, like he said, he'd have to figure that all out on the night before we started shooting the script. But he really did. He played more characters. I don't know who played any more characters than you've ever played in television. I mean, unless you go back to the days of, the early days of TV and all the Studio One and all that stuff. Yeah. It was quite a challenge, and he was up to it. And why he never got that Emmy, I'll never know. I really won't. Somebody must have been pissed at you.
Nah. No, listen, it was great to be nominated, and I mean that sincerely. We had the best times. We had big Emmy nominating parties on the set, and the crew would come down, and you guys would come down. It was a unique thing. We'd have a lunch, before the Emmys, and we would, people who got nominated would give speeches. I mean, it was, because that's really what it was about.
Then we cried after.
Yeah, well, those were much smaller parties. I literally bumped into an Emmy voter yesterday who went out of her way to stop me.
Really?
Yeah, at the memorial service.
Right.
And she said, "I just want you to know, it's a crime that you never won that Emmy." And I said, "Well, thank you." And she said, "I was an Emmy voter, and you did so many different things. We could never. I voted every year. I voted for you, but it was hard because you did so many different things." I said, "Well, they wouldn't let me put a clip reel together, so."
That was probably, that may have been part of it because they didn't understand it because, the Emmy Awards go to people who play one role.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was doing, we were doing an anthology, a different show every week with two characters that remained the center core of the show, I think had him a little confused. Also, a lot of the Emmy voters were, at that time, they may still be, were older. I'm not sure they got it. The show was a very young-oriented show, exactly what they're always looking for today. The show had a huge 18 to 35 audience, huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And it had nothing in the older end of the spectrum, which always surprised me, and I still haven't figured it out, because I thought people would love looking at the 60s and the 70s and the 80s again that had lived it. Evidently not. I guess they figured, oh God, I don't want to go there again.
We never. Yeah, that was the big mystery.
But that was the fun of it. I can honestly say it's the, and I mean this not just because of the convention. It's the best show I ever created. It's the one I love the most. It's the one I had the most pleasure and fun working on. And this man is the best star I ever worked with.
Yeah.
I mean it. I mean it.
We're going to go over to the other side of the room for another question, but to touch on that, just to let you know, we had a bevy of guest star actors over on this side, Don. We had a bevy of guest star actors this weekend, panelists, people you worked with, and they told various stories of how, what it's like to kiss Scott. Who was that said 32 times? Was Susan Griffiths said she kissed you 32 times. Anyway, that's exactly, Don, what everyone was saying about Scott, is how this was the best guy that they've ever worked with, and how pleasurable and kind he was, and he did grunt work on the set, not just did his own job, but he carried boom mics and the whole 9 yards. So
he's trying to get home.
We agree with you. Trying to get home.
He started the first day. The one thing I say about Scott when people say, what was he like to work with? I said, well, he was pounding nails with the crew on the first show, and on the last show, he was still pounding nails with the crew. And that's true. Now, that might have been because he played hockey with them all the time. But
were you in the room when I was talking about that?
Which the studio was never supposed to know about.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am, on the other side of the room, go ahead.
Now I'm ma'am.
Oh.
Young lady.
Thank you.
Well, I went from, never mind. I'm MJ. I'm from Texas. And, yeah, big state. Don, I have two comments. It's not questions because I'm learning so much more today from everybody else asking questions. It's unbelievable. Don, the way that you write for any of your characters that you create is completely amazing. It shows how much of a heart that you have. And if you hadn't have made this show, I wouldn't have spent 9 years of my life writing fan fiction and putting it on the internet.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott.
Two
Yeah.
questions.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I know. It's comments, it's not questions.
Comments,
I
yeah.
got a technicality there.
Oh, man. I feel like I'm in a SAG meeting.
And at the end, I have one question. At the end, I have one question. Go ahead.
Okay, you have two questions.
No, I have one.
Okay.
What's
You
your
can,
question?
you can ask more than one.
What's your question? Did you have a
Where are
question?
you from
for
in
me?
Texas?
Bertram. It's a
Bertram?
little town outside of Austin.
Outside of Austin? I only asked that because I have a daughter that lives in Brennan, Texas, and I lived in Dallas, Texas for 8 years.
See, maybe it's a Texas thing that's going on here.
Yeah.
Scott, thank you so much. You put the heart into everything that he wrote. And if it weren't for you, I don't know where all of us would be.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. Next.
Hi guys, I'm Beck from Western Australia. Don, I wanted to ask
Western
you...
Australia?
Western Australia. Where in Australia were you staying? You just said you came from Australia?
I have a home on Sydney Harbour.
Oh, okay, cool. Right, guys. I started watching Quantum Leap about 2 years ago, and it's taken me 2 years to get through the series. I'm pretty busy with the kids and the whole lot. I watched the last episode a week ago before I got here.
Oh, my God.
And it was such a momentous occasion in my house. I dragged my kids in to watch it, whose incidentally their names are Sammy, Jay and Beth. And that's coincidental. That wasn't deliberate. That was just... They was... He's kicking me because I'm taking too long.
No,
Oh,
go
no,
ahead.
I haven't just started. Anyway, they watched the last episode, me. They were absolutely excited. They loved it, but they were so devastated when I read out to them that it said Sam never made it home. And they said, the bartender lied. So they said...
That's a great bumper sticker.
He's a lot faster.
The bartender lied.
The what?
The bartender lied.
He said that he could go home whenever he wanted. They were watching really carefully. And they said, he lied. It says that he never made it back. So I promised them I would tell you that they were very upset that Sam never made it home. So I just want to tell you. And the other thing is I would love to see, I know that someone's yelled it out already, I would love to see Scott and Dean in a cameo in NCIS. NCIS is my other favourite show, and I loved it. Even before I realised you were the producer of both. And it was my favourite. And then I suddenly twigged that, oh, hang on, it's the same guy. It's brilliant.
There's some other ones you should check out.
Well, I'm still catching up from all the 80s series because it's taken me long to catch up because I don't get time to watch TV. But I'll keep watching yours will be the first that I'll be watching before I get on to the next lot. Okay, thanks.
Good deal. The bartender lied.
Where do we have? On that side? Okay.
Hello, Mr. Bellisario, Mr. Bakula. Just a related thing, actually. I was wondering if Mr. Bellisario ever thought about having Sam leap into a Star Trek episode. And Mr. Bakula, when Mr. Stockwell appeared on the episode Detained, we're all sitting there waiting for, oh boy, from somebody. And it never happened.
I never thought of him leaping into a Star Trek episode. What I wanted to do, I wanted to leap him into a Magnum episode.
Yeah. That's right.
I wanted him to look into a mirror and see Tom Selleck looking back.
But I couldn't do the eyebrow thing back, so it was like...
But Universal would not give permission to do that. Actually, Tom wouldn't give permission, but
Francis, stand up.
I'll couch it that way.
Mr. Bakula, about the oh boy?
Yeah, well...
oh, boy.
We talked about that, but... let's see. I don't like to give stuff away.
What was the question?
Why I didn't say
tell.
oh boy
We won't tell.
for Detained.
For
the
what?
episode, the episode of Enterprise, when Dean was on the episode, and why I didn't give an oh boy in that episode. We talked about, I don't remember kind of what happened. I don't know who, it was definitely a conversation. We were trying to figure out if we could get away with a little wink there or not, and I think we decided that I don't really remember, but it was a conscious choice to not do it, and probably in hindsight, stupid.
Well, thank you for considering it at least.
Oh, absolutely, because when you're making a TV show, it's all real. So until you step back and go, oh, I wasn't in space. And periodically, when I keep seeing myself in the mirror, I'm like, huh. Maybe I did make it home after all. We gotta wake ourselves up sometimes.
Francis?
Hi, I'm Francis from Italy. Like everybody said, I wanted to thank you for making the show. And there's many episodes that have touched people in many different ways. The episode that touched me particularly was Jimmy, because my aunt had the Down syndrome. And I wanted to ask of both of you, as an actor and as a writer, how you were able to portray and write certain characters so well. I remember the episode in Jimmy when you're handling a coffee mug or something and it falls in the water, and the way you were acting clumsily like a person with Down syndrome does. And that's the bit that really broke my heart, thinking about my aunt and what she had to go through. So how do you get into such in-depth emotions about situations that maybe you don't know personally? Because there's so many situations that you know, it's hard to know every single one personally.
Well, really, in our show, and this is true in anything, plays, film, television, it really is about the writing. Because the writing, if there's good writing, you don't have to work as hard. So many times I've had to do things where I've had to work, hard to try and help something, and ultimately that shows in a certain way, as skilled as you may or may not be. But we just had great words, and we had great situations, and great guests, and it always started with the words. And for me, it's really the show that I learned to really love the writer, and because you're only as good as what they give you, and you get to enhance it, and but basically, if it's not there, you're in trouble. And we had that gift, and that and it's not like he did it once and it was a lucky thing and we all came together. I have to it's not an accident that he has made so many incredibly successful, loved TV shows, and that's what I'm grateful for, that I had a chance to be a part of it. And that's what you heard Dean saying too. It's just we just had all these pearls, and we would just get to play and go with them. And so that's, Don says thanks to me, but that's how I feel to him. It's just, we never, you were captivated. The reason we're here after 20 years is because, not just because of Sam and Al, but because of the characters that Jimmy and people like that. And that episode, my gosh, with having Brad be a part of it, it took it to another place. And Whitmore directing it, and it just, again, you can plan these things, you can talk about them, you can, they spend hours at the network trying to make it, I almost said make it so, but I didn't. Make it right, get the right chemistry and the right this and that and everything. And if they would just let the people do what they do, I promise you television would be in a much better place. But thank goodness Don wrote these guys. That's the truth.
Okay. Folks, we would love for these folks to be here for at least 10 hours, don't you? I think it would probably take that long to get through all the questions that everyone has, but unfortunately, we only have one more that we're going to give them before they go on to their other duties, so please accept our apologies. Ma'am, you're last.
Hi, I'm Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne.
I just want to say quickly to Scott, I loved you in Shenandoah. I'm from Washington, D.C. I
Thank
got
you.
to see it multiple times, and I hope you get a chance to come back and do something else there.
Thank you.
But my question is for Don. We've heard a lot this weekend about people talking about the strength of Quantum Leap, the question that just came before about the emotions that people felt watching various episodes of the characters that they leapt into. I was curious when and why you made the decision to go to actual historical stories instead of the I don't want to say nobodies, but the ordinary people of previous stories.
I never made any historical story but one. And that was Lee Harvey Oswald. That's the only historical story I did. Because when you go to if you go to a real historical story, everybody knows what happened in it. And I went to Lee Harvey Oswald. Tell you the truth. Why? My son, who's now 28, so at the time he was about 14, 15, came in from seeing Oliver Stone's JFK, which is total bullshit. Total bullshit. In his opinion. Not in my opinion. And no, this is why we got along. I happen to, through coincidence, have known only briefly Lee Harvey Oswald. I was in the Marine Corps the same time he was. I ran into him. He and I almost got in a fist fight. I got to know a little bit about it. Not much. And my son comes home and tells me this whole story about how it was a conspiracy and there were more assassins and this and that. And I fired the Mannlicher. I know the distances, the shots, the whole thing. It was no big deal for a Marine marksman at all. It was no big deal for a Marine who barely qualified. He got lucky. And so my son was so sold on all this that I said, I'm going to make a film where Lee Harvey Oswald is the only assassin, and I'm going to show you how it's done. Now, the big problem I had was, how in the hell do I change history? And as I was writing it, it came to me that he does a double leap, and he leaps into the presidential security guard on the back of the Lincoln that jumps up and grabs Jackie and saves her life because originally she was killed. That was the only way I could do it. That's the only time I did a historical fact. Now, I mean, I did things like Heimlich maneuver and Peggy Sue, Piggy Sue, you know, that kind of stuff taken off. But that was the only time. And I believe that Melvin.
Marilyn Monroe.
Who the hell was Melvin?
No, Elvis.
Oh, Elvis.
Saying Elvis and Marilyn.
Yeah,
Elvis and
Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, we did that, but that was
Fluff.
fluff. That was fluff.
I have to agree because my favorite episodes are definitely among the ones where he just plays ordinary people.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that, you know, the thing was, everybody, I got a large, I don't want to take up too much of their time. I got a big charge out of when I first created the show. A writer at a major newspaper, critic at a major newspaper. Critics are people who shoot the wounded.
What did we hear yesterday? What was the definition we heard yesterday? That was way worse than that. I'm not sure you can tell it.
Yesterday at the James Whitmore Memorial, we heard that critics are eunuchs at an orgy.
That's right. That's what it was. See, that's why he's a writer. He remembers the jokes. I can't remember. You know, this is.
Anyway, this critic said, well, he's broken all the rules of time travel.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what?
We got letters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You broke all the rules of time travel. Bending them, yes.
You reinvented them.
Oh, reinvented them. Yeah, I reinvented them. And the thing that made it work so well, along with, beside the performances that these guys did, which were great, and all the other actors too, the things that made it work so well was that it could only travel, he could only travel back and forth in his lifetime, although at one point we went to your grandfather, I think.
It's genetic.
Yeah. But back and forth in his lifetime. By doing that, he leaped in, he could only leap back far enough to where, I think it was the 50s was the furthest back we could go.
No, we got into 40.
But that was with,
That's Dean.
Al. That
Yeah,
was
that's
with
right.
Al.
Was that 45?
Yeah.
Yeah. 54, I think, or 52.
The idea was there's cars, there's television, there's the things, yeah, they're changed, but there's still things that everybody, you all recognize and understand. I mean, if he suddenly leaped into a toga in Rome, I think everybody would go, huh? That would be only if he lifted the toga. And that was part of the parameter. The next thing was that don't try to change him into the people he leaps into. That's where the mirror came up. Oh, he looks in the mirror. Oh, my God, this is who I am. You know? I mean, you didn't know who the hell you were. You looked in the mirror. The first time he looked in the mirror and saw a woman, it really shook him up. But that, along with, you know, my only regret is that we never figured more in the rush of doing these things. Kisses with History. I loved the Kisses with History. I loved doing Peggy Sue, you know, and Heimlich maneuver, which I thought was really funny.
That was hysterical.
But Peggy Sue, you got to admit, was the funniest.
Yeah. Yeah. It was great.
But keeping it within that realm made it kind of real to everybody. The suspension, you know. Oh, one story to go along with that. Kerry McCluggage, great guy who was head of Universal at the time, was a friend, but can get a little bit too anal. When I wanted to leap him into Magnum, he said, "You can't leap him into Magnum. Magnum's a TV character." I said, "Yeah."
Oh, God.
I said, "Yeah." He said, "You'd have to leap him into Tom Selleck. And Tom Selleck will never give permission to do that." I said, "But you can leap him into Magnum." I said, "What?" He said, "No, you know, the suspension of disbelief and all that stuff." I never could. I said, "Do you really think he's leaping around in time?" That really floored me. I had the greatest respect for Kerry until he did that.
No, thank goodness for Kerry. He was a champion.
Kerry was a real champion, and Brandon Tartikoff was a real champion.
Yeah. Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
I know you're up there, Brandon, listening to all this.
Yeah.
Brandon, and you've probably heard this story many times. Brandon, I came in and I pitched it to Brandon, and he said, "Tell me that in 30 seconds so my mother can understand it." So I told it to him again. He said, "I still don't get it." I said, "But your mother does." He said, "Get out of here and go make it." That was the kind of TV executives that we had on rare occasions. They were rare.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
What we need again.
It's what we need again.
We do need people like that. He was one of a kind. And I remember when we finally got the first, but they're stubborn. He put us on Friday night. He put us on Friday night the first time out, or Saturday
afraid
night.
so.
I forget
No,
which
it was
one.
Friday.
Friday night, which is the death night. I said our audience is going to be young. We'll get killed, and we did.
That didn't help us, though.
No, we got killed.
VCRs didn't help us.
We got killed.
Yeah.
Okay, we got killed. So I said, Brandon, you can't do this, please. You know, you got to give me a shot. He said, okay. What I'll do is I'll put you on, what is it, Wednesday night at 10?
Wednesday nights.
Put you on Wednesday night at 10 on the summer reruns. Well, we went, and I said, see? He says, you're right. He says, okay, I'm going to put you on Saturday night at... I said, Brandon, it's the same problem. This is before all the VCRs and that were really that big. I said, the young people are going to be all out, you know, dancing, partying. They're not going to be home watching TV. And the same thing happened. The numbers went down. Finally, he said, okay, I believe you. And he moved it back. And when he moved it back, I still have it. I have a thing he drew, which is a big circle with a smile, and said, I believe, Brandon Tartikoff.
Yeah. That's cool.
All right.
That's cool.
Mr. Bellisario, I've been asked to put this one important question to you before we end, because we do know.
I already know what it is, but go ahead.
Yeah, we know you have things to do, places to go.
People to see.
3 words. Mm-hmm. Quantum Leap Movie.
Mm-hmm. NBC Universal has the rights to the television series.
Who do we write?
Pardon me?
Who do we write to is what they're asking.
You write to NBC Television. I don't even know who in the hell's over there now. Do you?
I do, but I don't think I should give her name out.
Okay.
Because she's a friend of mine.
I think the technology has advanced so far that it's possible to really do something.
The feature I'd hate to do if I couldn't do it with him and Scott.
Well,
Scott, would
really
you do
would.
it if you were offered? Scott?
Oh, of course I would. I've always said that I would. But look, years ago, Don may not remember this, but he had a big meeting at Universal and said, let's talk about Quantum Leap, the movie. And they said, we've talked to our marketing people, and they've told us that we can't sell that name. So we're not going to make the movie. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. They said, well, no, it's not, we can't sell it. So those are the kinds of things that you go up against. The reality is, and this is just being totally honest, if we were fortunate enough, if Don was fortunate enough to get the rights to go and make this movie, the odds of Dean and I being in it would be very, very small. And that's just, we might get some cameo thing or something, which would be cool. I would never want to, if there could be a Quantum Leap movie franchise, it would be fantastic. In any shape and form, as long as he's driving the boat. So that would be the first hope someday that would happen. It's a great, it's such a unbelievably obvious movie franchise.
Right. But it's very hard to get off. They want to, NBC still would like to do Quantum Leap for Sci-Fi Channel, and they don't want to screw around with a feature. And we don't want to do a movie for TV. At least I don't.
No, I don't think. Well, they weren't even asking about us, right? There was a whole nother game plan.
There's a lot of game plan.
Yeah.
Well, I think you have a willing army right here in this room. Anytime you need to call upon them, we will stand by you. We will support you. And on that note, we thank you so much for being with us, joining us here at the Beverly Garden Hotel Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Scott Bakula and Don Bellisario.
Thank you.
Thank you.